I never had a problem. Whereas when I wrote everything down in my step 4, my God, it highlighted how crazy and psycho I was. Like, not okay. Hello, my name is Isra and this is Still Addicted. Welcome back. Okay, so I have got a new thing that I'm going to be doing. Basically, I have done multiple questions, answered multiple questions. I've gone through the steps. I've gone and talked about the fellowship, etc. But it's always been answering questions. So I thought this time I'm going to do a new thing, which is basically in the rooms, they call it the Ask It Basket. So I've written a load of topics and I've put it in this box, and I'm going to pick a topic out each episode. And I'm just going to talk about that basically. So, also, how cute is this little box? I got it with my Drunk Elephant skincare. Anyways, so today's topic is, okay, right, let's see. It is resentment. Can you see that? Resentment. Fucking hell. Let's start. Fucking resentment. Oh, I've got a fucking resentment over this fucking topic thing now. Resentments. Bloody hell, you write down all your resentments in your step 4 and then you go through them. But I pick up resentments all the fucking time. Do you know what I mean? And that's okay. A lot of people do pick up resentments all the time. You probably do it on a daily basis. Someone pisses you off, you get a resentment over them. But I think the real importance about resentments and why they are quite important for you and your own recovery is due to the fact that if you have resentments, you end up getting quite angry and frustrated, and these intense emotions come from resentments, and you end up, you can use on resentments. Like a lot of addicts, we used on resentments. For instance, a lot of my resentments was against me, my dad, and even my mum, and the divorce and everything, because I always felt that if the divorce hadn't happened or any of that, then I wouldn't be an addict and all of this stuff. So it's like a blame thing. You blame a lot of people, places and things because of your addiction, and you don't actually end up taking any ownership for yourself. Where's my music? There. You don't take any ownership for yourself. So it's really important to understand why you're getting this resentment and then trying to look at your part in the situation, so then you can work through that resentment and get out of it and clear it, so then you don't end up using on it. A lot of people, I think they find, a lot of people, especially in recovery, you get resentments over people in the rooms and it stops you going to the meetings. And then once you stop going to the meetings, you're like, oh, you know what, fuck it, I don't want to go to that meeting because of this person. And then that addict inside of you just starts waking back up, and it can have you over, and you're back out there purely because you had a resentment over somebody. Ridiculous. When you work through your 12 steps, your step 4 is where you write your resentments. But like I said, in my addiction, I'll speak about when in my addiction, my biggest resentments definitely was my dad, and I had a lot of resentments against my religion, Islam, because I thought it was really controlling, when now I've learned to teach myself more about Islam and actually research into it instead of listening to the elders in my family. I'm really understanding it myself, and I see how loving it is and how peaceful it is. But culture is something that I think I still have a lot of resentments against culture and the old ways of thinking, because it doesn't allow people to be who they want to be. And it doesn't give people freedom to be who they are. So I still hold a lot of resentments against that. And that always ties into my own father, who I love absolutely dearly. But his ways and ways of thinking is just I can't get on board with. Do you know what I mean? But having that resentment ultimately put me in pain. It made me feel shit. It made me feel angry. It made me feel like I was never good enough. I shouldn't be who I was. I had so much self-hatred thing, but it was because I held on to that resentment. Whereas now, because I've done the work, I have been able to actually understand that he's just who he is, and he has his beliefs, and that is culture that has been going for years. Like, it, I can't blame him for thinking like that. That's all he's ever known. But what I can do is look at my part, and is the fact of the matter is I spent 20-25 years in such anger and frustration and everything like that. But I didn't go out of my way to learn really what Islam was. I didn't take any time to see it from his side. I never took any time to try and understand or to come to acceptance, or I just decided to stay in that anger, which caused me a lot of pain, which made me use. So that's what I have to look at my part in things. And that resentment, even though I still got, I know I definitely do, because I have to be honest on here. I know I still have resentments against the culture, etc. But I also know that I'm working through it, and it's not going to be an overnight just, oh, I've decided I've not got any resentments anymore and then I'm done. It's going to take time. So, and then with my ex-boyfriend, I had a lot of resentment over him. I always used to think like he was the cause of the chaos and all the drug taking and the craziness that came with that relationship. It got quite domestic. It was all, I used to always blame him on everything, when in reality, again, after I'd done step 4, I saw my patterns of behavior, and I saw the fact that I was also absolutely nuts. I would come in, and for instance, when we used to work in hospitality, both of us, and we used to have different shifts and everything. Anyways, we used to have a tray of weed, and I used to buy the weed, and I would leave. I would have a couple of totes before I'd leave, and then I'd go. And then when I'd come back home, when we lived together, if he smoked my weed, it was just like the world had ended, and I would be fucking psycho, actually psycho. But the matter of fact is I left weed out. I left it to somebody who's also got an addiction problems. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, the weed's gonna get smoked, and also it's fucking weed. What's the big deal? I didn't have to go that crazy and that mental. Do you know what I mean? And I couldn't ever look at my part in why I was going that crazy over a fucking joint. Do you know what I mean? It was just crazy. We were both as bad as each other. But I spent years after that relationship broke down thinking it was all him. I hadn't got a problem. I never had a problem. Whereas when I wrote everything down in my step 4, my God, it highlighted how crazy and psycho I was. Like, not okay. And then resentments against my high school. I used to think my high school just didn't get me and all of this stuff. And it's all poor me, all, do you know what I mean? That's unfortunately what us addicts and addiction are like. It's everything else is the issue. We're not the issue. Do you know what I mean? And if you carry on with that attitude and that way of thinking and having all of these resentments against people, places, and things, you're never ever going to move forward, and you're never going to grow. So it's really important to work through those resentments and really see your part in things, so then you can learn to let go and also learn what not to do in the future, whether that's putting boundaries in place, teaching yourself things, taking the higher road, or like there's so many different things that you can do. But I just think resentments will literally bring anybody back to using if you let them, because it can really fucking fester into our minds, especially addicts' minds. We're obsessive as it is, so then having a resentment, you get over somebody or whatever, you have about a million arguments with them in your head and they never happen. But it's that obsessive keeping yourself up all night. It just makes you fucking go crazy. Do you know what I mean? So resentments are a bad thing. But like I said, you work through them in your step 4, you list everything down. And then when you go through that with your sponsor, you get to see, it really helps you see your part in things. And then that helps you in your future because you can start to see your patterns and what drove you to having that resentment. So you don't need to, so hopefully you won't have them in the future. But you are going to have resentments in the future. It's just about then being able to let go a lot earlier. So I hope that makes sense. But resentments are a big one. It's funny. I know I still have a lot of resentments that I need to work through, but it's a lifelong thing, this. It's not an overnight thing. So I'm going to be not hard on myself and take my time with things. Some are more complicated than others, you know what I mean? Some things that you can just have a resentment one day and the next day you're just like, oh, fuck it. What will be, do you know what I mean? Whereas some are so ingrained in us that it's really hard to let go. But I think if you think about it, the fact that you're the one in pain, it's not the other person or it's not the other thing, do you know what I mean? It's you're the one that's holding that pain. So why do you want to do that? What is it? Is it comfortable? I know for me, it was comfortable holding that anger and holding that frustration in. It was weird and unsafe for me to let that stuff go, but it is so much better and so much healthier for you and your mental health, etc., to let go of your resentments, move on, and try and work through them because they're nasty, nasty things. But I'll leave it there. Thank you.